too, you won't soon forget.
Yeah.
So Club Barnett, here we are, club members, and this is episode 6 that we're talking about, season 2. And who knew that Ronnie had not one, but 2 stories related to Michael Hutchence of INXS. And if you're listening with your kids around, you might want to send them away because, or if you're listening at work,
put your earbuds in.
Yeah, because it gets a little bit risque here. But great stories as always. And it seems like, I don't know, Frank, like, how does Ronnie meet all of these people and get these opportunities?
I don't know. It's funny, and if you're friends with him on Facebook or anywhere else, he's always throwing up pictures of himself with somebody. I've never met anybody with raw elbows because he's rubbing them with everybody, man. He's out there.
Yeah. And not once but twice he ran into Michael Hutchence and other members from INXS, in fact. Right. So
when you were a kid, would you think of doing any of the things that he did?
He's a little bit more bold than I would be. Yeah, I think I'm a little bit more reserved, but yeah, he did participate in some activities with the band that I did also with Rain Parade. So right. Always having a good time when you're on a cloud.
Yeah. Ronnie's stories when it comes to this type of stuff is Bill Bartelish.
Absolutely. Great point. Great connection. Yeah.
So
yeah, like the Zelig of punk rock. He appears everywhere with everybody.
Yep. There it is. Well, check it out and enjoy. Oh, yes.
Ooh, INXS. So is there a connection between Ronnie Barnett and Michael Hutchence of INXS?
Well, besides us both being devastatingly sexy.
Well, that goes
and having serpentine moves on stage. I've got two good stories about Michael Hutchence. Okay, we weren't friends, but back when I was a teenager, I'm a music fan, as everyone can probably tell. I would go meet bands. Back in the early '80s, I'd actually. I can't believe I would do brazen stuff. Like I walked into the hall where U2 was sound checking, a place called the Houston Music Hall, 1983 on the War Tour. Me and my friend Niall sat down in the crowd and watched the sound check. Like there was no security. We walked in this place, sat down, and afterwards U2 saw us there and invited us backstage and gave us food. Like that's amazing to me. Anyway.
Wow.
Anyway, so that said, I knew the hotel where most bands would stay, whatever. I used to get a lot of autographs and meet people and wait for them. And so this one night, I went to see Adam. So it's Adam Ant, Friend or Foe tour, and INXS was opening on the Shabu Shaba tour, right? Wow. That's the first American album. It's when they're blowing up with the one thing on MTV. So I personally didn't care about necessarily meeting these people, but a friend of mine wanted to meet Adam Ant. So we go to the hotel and we're hanging around the lobby, right? And again, this falls into like, I can't believe I did this, but I'm hanging around and my friend's on the hunt for Adam Ant, and I'm somewhere else in the lobby. And that said too, that they let us hang around the lobby of these hotels. Like what the, anyway, Michael Hutchence walks in, right? With about 6 other people following him, right? And they press the button for the elevator. Elevator opens, they all walk on, and I walk on the elevator with them. Like I just fell in line with them. And so elevator gets off, we go up. Michael Hutchence opens his door. He holds open the door. We all file in, including me. So I'm in Michael Hutchence' hotel room, okay?
Oh my God.
And he proceeds to roll a joint. And it's one of those, I'll call it European, but he's Australian. I guess they did it there too, but one of those half marijuana, half tobacco joints, right? And growing up, I tried to smoke cigarettes. I never could pick up the habit. As soon as the tobacco hits my lungs, I cough. It's a good thing in retrospect, but I really tried to pick up that smoking habit as a kid. I got in trouble. Anyway, so I'm in there and like, I'm not contributing to the conversation. I don't remember what the conversation was at this point, but still, I'm just there and he rolls this joint and it's a big one. And
It's a fatty.
it's a fat, I mean, I think he like glued two papers together. Like, it's like, this is like a Bob Marley, special besides the tobacco. Yeah. So anyway,
Big bamboo.
it starts getting passed around. And in my head, I'm thinking, and look, I'm a senior in high school. Like so I'm thinking like, okay, don't be cool, man. Don't cough. Like, don't. So I took it in. I didn't breathe it in. Right. I smoked it like you would do a cigar. I just took the smoke into my mouth. Yeah, I smoked that joint with Michael Hutchins and whoever these new friends of his were. They were mainly women, I'll say.
Oh.
And then I was like, my friends now, I gotta go. So it didn't last long, but it lasted the length of that joint smoking. And I went downstairs and again, I can't believe I did that.
That's amazing. Even if you
that story.
Even if you didn't.
That's story
inhale,
number one. Go ahead, Jeff.
I was gonna say, even though you didn't inhale, that's still amazing.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, right. So gotta say, nice guy, right? Wow. Nice guy. So that's story number one. That's 83. Okay, so let's cut to I think about 86. It's when they had the album The Swing.
Oh.
So I think it's 2 albums later.
Right.
And The Swing's my favorite INXS album. So for the Swing tour, INXS is headlining a big rock club called Cardi's in Houston, right? The Kick hadn't come out. They hadn't gotten huge yet. But so I was working as a valet parker at a high-end Mexican restaurant. That's a whole nother podcast. I used to park Billy Gibbons's car and stuff. And used to go, there was a cook that didn't speak any English. He only spoke Spanish, but we spoke one language together, and that was smoking pot. Yeah. And after our shift, we'd drive a couple blocks away where this person sold joints individually. And like he would buy me one because I would take him. Anyway. So there's a waitress I worked at there, big INXS fan. And we went to this show together at Cardi's. Okay. So she's like, I want to meet him. I'm like, okay, well, let's, our best course of action at this point is to follow them. It's to follow the bus. Right. Wow. So we wait. And sure enough, the bus pulls out, we follow them. And it's weird. They stayed at a hotel it was close to where I lived on the west side, actually. So we follow in this hotel and I'm like, well, let's just go wait in the lounge. Maybe somebody will come down. So we did that. We go, we have a drink. And sure enough, one of them comes down and it's a keyboard player, Andrew Ferris, who is not the best looking member, but he's the one who wrote all the songs for the most part. So he's kind of the brains. Anyway, he comes down and he's having a drink with 2 females. Okay. So we let him have a little time to himself before, again, me and my friend, we go and kind of approach him at the table, told him we were at the show. He asked us to sit down, blah, blah, blah. Somehow this leads to me telling him that I've got a little pot if you want to smoke, right? So he's like, it sounds great. Yeah, let's go up to my room. I got some champagne up there. So me and my friend go up with these 2 females and Andrew Ferris. I take out my pot, I roll one, we smoke it, all's well. And then Andrew goes, you have any more? And so I'm like, I think I got enough for one more joint here. He's like, oh, can you? I'm like, sure. Yeah. So I twisted up, a skill that I learned very early on in life. And I twisted up. Andrew Ferris takes this joint and leaves the room. All right. So we're there with these previous strangers hanging around. We hung around for like 10 minutes. He doesn't come back. Right. So me and my friend like, all right, well, I see what's happened now. It's sunk in. And like, all right, let's go. All right. So we walk out of the room. And as we walk down the hall, there in the doorway, the open doorway of his room is Michael Hutchins talking to a girl. INXS got a lot of girls, which I guess is no surprise to anybody. And so we stop and we tell him probably just we were at the show, blah blah blah. I didn't say, hey, your boy's a dick. That's what I wanted to say, but anyway, my friend got to have a nice moment where Michael Hutchence grabbed her ear and said, I like your earring. And she melted. I mean, again, I'm sure Michael Hutchence had this effect on any woman he met.
Sure.
So she got to have that moment with him. And that's it. Those are my 2 Michael Hutchence stories.
So
He
cool.
was very cool each time. Yeah. And didn't have to be. So
yeah, even though that it sounded like you got left wet without even a towel thrown your way for a little bit.
Yeah.
So,
well,
I mean,
whatever. In retrospect, I'm not mad at you, Andrew Ferris. Whatever. Makes for a good story
There you
on
go.
Club Barnett.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Stewart Copeland. Look, I grew up a huge Stewart Copeland fan and still am. So I think I've always thought Stewart was so cool. And I love Clark Kent, his solo project. And so it's happened. Well, we wear masks now. But people have recognized me as Stewart Copeland, even on the street. And I consider it a compliment. So it kind of took on a life of its own. There's memes of me, Stewart Copeland, police drummer, talks to blah blah blah, and every once in a while for a profile pic, I'll put up a picture of Stewart Copeland, and I don't necessarily, I see it a little bit, but yeah, if I got to look like somebody, I'll take it. I love Stewart Copeland, and I one day hope to meet him in a normal. I went to a Stewart Copeland in-store. We had an in-store at Amoeba when his book came out some years back, but there were no pictures. But I'd love to meet and have a picture of Stewart Copeland. I know he lives in Santa Monica, and I work on the West Side.
Yeah,
It could happen.
Yes.
Somebody hook me up with Stewart Copeland. I could tell him the story about his brother that I kind of touched on earlier.
Well, there are a lot of people that have said you've never seen a picture of the 2 of them together. So I mean, there are assumptions out there. So
who knows?
Could be.
No, are there drums in here?
Yeah.
One of my favorite drummers too. I love it. I love that. I love the whole mythology too about him and Sting butting heads and him having on his drum heads, "Fuck you," as he's hitting them, and Sting wanting a more solid drummer or whatever. But hey, Stewart Copeland, man, that guy's got personality in his playing, and
He does.
I love his playing. And then I love the Police, and all 3 of those guys are a huge part of that sound. Like you can't take any guy out of that equation.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So